15 years in business, big milestone. How does it feel hitting that number?
It's just hard to believe it's 15 years. You sort of set up, with a little bit of hope and a bit of inspiration to do something, and then all that time flies by. It's just gone in a sort of split second. So yeah, it's sort of pinching myself.
So let's rewind. What were you doing before photography, and how did that chapter end for you?
Well, I'd been a software engineer in various companies for about 13 years. So I was writing code for it's Lloyd's at the end, actually, because HBOS went a bit wrong, didn't it? If you remember the housing crisis, and Lloyd's bought it, and then they offshored all our jobs to India. So it ended with us all being made redundant on the 1st of October 2010.
And was that the moment that you realised, I can't do this any longer?
Yeah. It was a control thing, really, because I think I've been made redundant 3 times in total, and not being in control of that process, someone making that decision for you is just awful.
What was it that made you go into photography? Why photography, and what was it about photography that helped you make that jump into it?
It was my sort of new, I say new, I've been doing it for about 7 years as a hobby, but it was my new sort of obsession, and I actually made a bit of money doing weddings here and there. So I just thought, I want to escape from software, because when I tried personal projects at home, because I could write code and stuff, I just thought, it's just like reading manuals all the time. I want something which is, getting me excited. I want to go out and do it all the time and stuff. So the photography was just a no-brainer, really.
How did friends react when you said, I'm going to be a photographer?
Mostly really supportive, actually. Yeah, it was like quite a positive thing. And they obviously see me pottering around with cameras all the time, and I was always pestering people on Facebook with photos and things. So it was obvious I was into it massively. It just seemed like a bit of a natural leap, really. So even mum and dad were like, yeah, good luck with it, because dad was always self-employed.
Good.
So it was like, part of the family sort of fabric, really.
So you've left, everybody's sort of okay with it. Everybody remembers their first time. So what was your first paid job?
Well, the actual first paid job was a wedding in Rotherham, by a big roundabout. So people were pipping the horns and we did all the group shots and things like that. But that was before I went professional. I think the first paid gig was a networking place I went to over in Bradford in Low Moor, I think it's called. And it was just at this hotel, which is a Best Western, I think it was, with the dodgy carpets as you go in, and it was doing headshots there. And I'm probably still friends with people on Facebook from that day, and it's amazing how long these things last for.
Mm. And when you're starting something new like that and different, what were the hardest parts for you getting started?
I think in my situation, the hardest bit was jumping from being in a safe software environment where you've got work just given to you every day, and that's what you did, into a niche where I was completely new as far as professional world was concerned. It wasn't like I'd been working as a photographer for a big company and then became a freelancer. It was like I came from nowhere, literally, into the business world of West Yorkshire going, hi, I'm a photographer. No one knew me. No one knew what I did. No one knew what I didn't know what I did. I remember being asked in a network meeting, so what do you photograph? And I was like, I couldn't answer. I'm going, anything? And the kind of smile, you're pretty new at this then.
So did you ever doubt the decision to move to be a photographer?
No, never. I mean, you sort of doubt the sort of the finding work side of it was always, and it still is, always a sort of scary bit. You're thinking, crikey, where's the next bit coming from? That was a bit scary, but I think it was the same in every business. The photography side of it meant it was the business is the sort of hard, not the hard bit, but the work. And then when you actually do the photography, it's just fun. It's good.
Well, it's a big move from a safe environment to actually running your own business, getting the people, doing the sales, doing the edits, doing the posts, doing the photography. It's the whole deal. What was the point where you realised, actually, this might just actually work? What was the point where, you could call it like a breakthrough point, but what was the point where you actually thought, actually, this is like, I'm going to be okay?
Yeah, I think it was probably a couple of years in. It came down to probably networking, and there's a group I joined. This is where I met Paul Dodd, Gary King, my friend Louise, Deborah, all these people I'm still friends with now, called Business in Yorkshire, BIY. And I don't know, it just seems to be a lot of people at the same stage of their careers. You know, they'd literally just started a business, and we all became like this sort of tight little bunch, and started, working together. And I think that's kind of when I realised that, hang on, you can't photograph dogs, cats, babies, goats, building sites, food, and everything. You've got to chunk down a little bit, haven't you? You've got to literally, find your niche. And that's when I decided I'm a commercial photographer now. Doddy did the brand, and here I am.
You found your niche. I mean, 2010, like when you started, that's like unbelievable. So what have some of the biggest changes been in photography or in your world and the type of photography that you do?
Well, both have changed quite a lot. If you think about it, I mean, I started off with a 5D Mark One, which, talking about the tech side of it, was a 12 megapixel camera. Didn't even have like a screen, which, with like a live view screen. It was just an old school brick of a camera. Beautiful images and stuff like that. And now you've got one which does video, it does, it tracks people's eyes, and it's absolutely amazing what the tech does. I mean, the files, that's 45 megapixels is my main camera now. Then the drones, I mean, that's just opened up a massive doorway.
Who would have thought that?
Yeah, you've got a camera with a 400-foot tripod, which takes movies, and it follows you around if you want it to. So those are the main things. I suppose I've shifted around. I've always been commercial, but I've shifted around niches a little bit, And,
Yeah.
I mean, I did a phase of maybe 5 or 6 years of doing a lot of food. And now, I think in lockdown, I went in the direction of construction. Because construction doesn't stop, does it? Everything else stopped apart from construction. So it was just a nice natural niche.
So you've done construction, food, individuals, small businesses, big businesses. How do you adapt yourself personally to communicate with all those different styles and personality types of people?
Well, it's probably reading people, and this is where knowing you for all these years has come in handy, because the way you've sort of show me how you work with people and talk to people. It's like, okay, this is how John does it. So you can see the sort of the sort of magic of language and things like that. So I think the main thing I found with working with you is the disarming people straight away. So someone comes through the door, and it's the first time I've ever met them. Shake their hand. I'm Aid. What do you do? And you just sort of like, because they're probably coming in quite nervous. And they've got to stand on the spot and have the photograph taken. So you've just got to sort of like disarm them straight away, which it sounds a bit sinister, but you know what I mean.
So what's been the most strangest or unexpected client or job that you've had?
I tell you, there's a place in Huddersfield, not far from the stadium, and what they do is they take in raw wool, they clean it, and then they dye it, and then they send it out, for people to make jerseys and things with, and jumpers. And that was a crazy job, because you go in there and it's just like a big steam sauna with all these blokes just got the tops off, grabbing hold of masses of wool and taking it from bath to bath. And then at the end of it, you go into this room, you've got all this lovely sort of like vibrant coloured wool. It's like some sort of hippie conference,
Wow.
That sort of thing.
So if you could go back as you are now to Aid in 2010 and give young Aid a little bit of your wisdom, what is it that you now, the man you are now with all the skills and knowledge that you've got, what is it that you'd say to him back then in 2010?
Don't worry so much, just keep going, and stuff happens. You might have a dry period, but all of a sudden it starts raining again. Another one is probably find your niche quicker. Don't try and do everything. Just pick something you really like doing. If you hate photographing food, which I didn't. I loved it because you can eat it. But if you hate photo, don't become a food photographer. Become a whatever you want, to whatever you enjoy doing. I think that's the main thing.
So going back, what skills from software from your engineering days have actually helped you with your photography?
Well, the business, all the websites. I've done all the websites myself. I can diagnose what's wrong with the websites. I even used to do websites for people for a bit in the early days, which brought in quite a lot of money, which was good. But I just think being organised, planning, all the stuff that an engineering project gives you. It's very similar in photography, really. There's a beginning, middle, and an end, and a delivery. So.
And photography, like everything, has changed. A lot of people think they can do photography, or they can, but they can't. They don't really understand it. So what do you wish more clients understood about what goes into professional photography?
What goes into professional photography is probably, it's a bit like the technical skills are given. A lot of people can learn how to do the technical side of it, getting the brightness and everything right. But I think the big difference with professional photographers is getting the best out of people. So hello, you can pretty much teach anybody how to get the settings right. You can even use an app, which will give you the sort of right settings. But to get someone who looks a little bit nervous to actually come across as a human eventually, I think that's the other thing. And the other one is getting photographs fit for purpose. Got to think of the use they're going to put it to. So rather than just a simple serious headshot, maybe coax 10 different looks out of them so they've got something for every occasion. Give them that extra bit of value.
And that only really comes with experience. A lot of people, speaking as a person who knows working with you, there's a lot of things that you've asked me to do, or areas or locations where we've gone where I've thought, actually, I'd have never thought of that. And like, wow, actually, that can be transferable into what is useful for me and my clients.
Yeah.
So what feedback from clients has stuck with you the most?
Feedback from clients, which I always like, is I put them at ease. That's the first one. Especially, a lot of people are quite nervous, especially people of my generation. They're getting a bit older and everything, and they're really worried about it. And if you can just sort of, chat naturally to them and get them to sort of chill out and relax a little bit, all of a sudden, all the tension disappears. We often talk about stuff completely unrelated to their business or my business, just to get them away from thinking about the world. So it could be music, it could be Formula One, or it could be anything. But quite often from that, the clients do. When you're chatting on LinkedIn and stuff, that's all they talk about. Not about work or anything like that. So they become friends.
So 15 years. 15 years. What's been, and take a moment to think about this, like go through all those, there's probably lots, but what's been your proudest moment so far?
One of the most joyous moments was sat in a 5-star hotel in Portugal, just outside Lisbon, at a American software conference, being taken over there to photograph a big conference, and spending the whole day meeting everybody from Australia, New Zealand, China, Tibet, South America, North America, and just spending 10 minutes with each of them, chatting about the world and photographing them. I just thought, yeah, this is good.
McFade International.
Yes. MFI.
So where do you see McFade photography going in the next 5 years?
Yeah, the next 5 years, I've really enjoyed the construction side of it. It's like big boys' toys, because we're talking civil engineering rather than building houses and stuff. So, last Saturday, I was watching a massive 200-ton crane lifting a lift shaft onto the platform, and then the stairs, and then another little housing. And that was just good fun.
Yeah.
All these guys got to know you, and after an hour, they just ignore you. At first, they're all a bit wary. So, but I think that's a niche I'm going to explore.
What's your proudest moment, and I guess proud is where this could be big or small, but you've done something, and the Ed that was like 15 years ago probably would have never dreamt that he could have done that thing, but you have. What's that thing?
Oh, that's a good question, and one I'm gonna.
You can ponder on it, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah,
proud.
yeah.
I mean, you've
Yeah,
got.
yeah, yeah.
I know a lot of things that if I were you, I'd be proud of that. I mean, I'd be proud just existing in business and having the name that you've got right now. But I was just curious, when you really
Yeah.
think, what are you really proud about? Is it one thing? Is it a culmination of things? But 15 years is
Yeah. No,
a
I see where
pretty
you're coming from.
significant.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not just like I was a photographer 15 years. It's like, no, you're a photographer, and McFade is a thing. It's a brand, it's a look, and you've created that. I don't know whether you realise just how much of a
Well,
thing you've created, but
I guess, yeah, you're probably too close to the trees, literally, to realise what you've built, I suppose. But I think that actually, coming back to when I mentioned that networking group, the fact that people I met probably 13 years ago, not right at the start, but those sort of people are still friends, contacts, regular sort of people. I think keeping that sort of that's good. That's a sense of pride. I think I've kept moving on. I've never really stuck still. I suppose the look's still there, but the way I approach it, it's got better. Whereas I think with the career before, it was kind of just like existing, and now it's just sort of like every day I'm looking for new stuff to try. Getting excited by it.
yeah,
So.
and like one thing that I would sort of say is a real thing to be proud of is your clients. So I've met a couple of your clients, and we didn't know that we were friends of yours, because clients sort of become friends, and it's like, oh, yeah. So like a lot of your clients, unknown to you, when they connect with other clients, they're like, wow, and they sort of talk passionately about the photographs, but about the experience of the shoot and of sort of being with you creatively.
That's yeah. Well, that's good to that does make you feel that's a real buzz when people have enjoyed it.
Okay.
'Cause it's like going to the dentist, isn't it? Sometimes you're just dreading it, and then it turns out at the end of it, well, what was I worried about? And you've got great, nice, shiny new teeth.
Sum up 15 years in one sentence.
I think you could sum it up by saying it was a leap of faith, blind faith in a way, which I never thought would fail. I just sort of went for it, and I didn't let anything stop us particularly, even when I was full of doubt. Just keep on going.
Yeah.
And when one door closes, don't get too upset about it, because you've got to believe another one's going to open. And it kind of did. I'm 15 years later still doing this, going, yeah, it's still working, bigger clients.